What is up, YouTube? It's Josh. This is the Den of Nerds. And again, I know sometimes I do these videos where you don't get to see my face, and I apologize about that. It's just that right now things are really busy for me. I'm kind of running around, and I gotta record when I can. All good stuff, though. Nothing bad going on. All good stuff. But I do apologize about the break in the normal format and whatnot. But I'm gonna do some recording tomorrow. Don't worry, you'll see my face tomorrow. If you even want to. I mean, I guess you don't have to. You can put like a card over the screen or do something weird. But I just wanted to make mention of that fact. In either case, it's Top 5 Tuesday, guys. So today's Top 5, I kind of was like thinking, like, what do I want to do for a top 5 today? And I started really thinking about alternate versions of superheroes. So that's what the top 5 is going to be today. The alternate versions or Elseworlds of superheroes, my top 5 of those characters. And on a side note, real quickly, I really dig Elseworld stories. I think they're really awesome. They are like a new twist on an old lemon. It's a really interesting thing. There's some things that are familiar to you. There are some things they change, and I always like seeing like how different writers take liberties with these stories that we're all really familiar with. It's very similar to why I enjoy some of the shows so much, like especially like the Flash and Arrow and everything. Like I really like these shows a lot because they're almost like Elseworld versions. There are things that are really familiar to me as a comic book reader, but there are things that they change, and I really like some of these changes. It's really cool. So let's get right into the list. First, honorable mention. Now, this is not exactly an alternate version, and I thought about putting someone else in there that was traditionally an alternate version or an Elseworld character. However, I absolutely love God Doom from the Secret Wars, from John Hickman's Secret Wars. You've probably heard me talk about this before, but God Doom is an incredible version of Doctor Doom. He's literally God that created the one world that is left in our universe. So God Doom can do a number of different things. He can rip the skull out of Thanos. He can straight up disintegrate people. He's everything that you would think of as God. And I really highly suggest reading that series. I like it a lot. But that would be my alternate, or my honorable mention pick is God Doom. Like I said, not quite the same as an alternate version, but I just kind of wanted to put him on the list. It's my channel. I get to do what I want. I get to be selfish and put God Doom on there, even though he's not technically an Elseworld version of that character. So there's, that's I do. I do what I want. Respect my authority. Anyways, getting it back to the list, number 5 would be Dark Side Superman. This is an awesome take in which the shuttle that is taking little Kal-El off of the dying Krypton crash lands on Apocalypse. Bad news, man. Bad news for everybody because Darkseid treats and adopts Kal-El as his own son, raises him on Apocalypse. He gets this dope armor, which is just, I'm going to put it on the screen. It's really friggin' cool. And he's a badass, works with Granny Goodness, in the trenches, really dark, is responsible for like the murdering of a whole world. But the thing that's really cool is you eventually see that thing, that little spark of hope, that little push to be good inside even this version of the character, and he slowly becomes the Superman that we know. So that's one of the things that I really dig about Elseworlds is you get to kind of see like nature versus nurture, how like it is just within Clark Kent's or Kal-El's nature to be the way that he is. And so even put in this weird scenario where he's literally raised on Apocalypse by Darkseid, you get to see Superman still become Superman. Very cool. So that gets the number 5 spot on my top 5 alternate versions of characters. Moving on to number 4. And I've actually talked about this pick before, and it's a very limited pick, but I just find it to be so friggin' cool that I had to put it on the list. And this would be the Doctor Strange Punisher amalgam that was in the one shot before Secret Wars. This is where Doctor Strange's body gets destroyed and he possesses Frank Castle, giving Frank Castle the mystical abilities of the Sorcerer Supreme. He has like basically astral projection guns that just fire out like magic bullets. He wears the cape but still has the skull. He's able to do all sorts of crazy things, including disintegrate a Hulk, which I thought was completely badass. But, I mean, just come on, do the math in your head, right? The Punisher, Frank Castle, with the powers of the Sorcerer Supreme, man, I would not want to be a criminal if that were a thing. That would definitely suck. But like I said, that little one shot is super, super dope. You should definitely check it out. Gets the number 4 spot on my top 5 alternate versions of characters. Now let's get a little Spider-Man action in there. Let's go to number 3. Number 3 pick is Spiderman Noir. Now I'm a huge Spider-Man guy. I'm a huge fan of Noir. So it would just come naturally that Spider-Man Noir is one of my favorite alternate versions of a character. However, I've got to be honest with you, the issues that he originally stems from are a little bit heavy-handed for me. They're kind of preachy, and they're really more period pieces than they are noir pieces. And although they're really good, I really didn't fall in love with this character until Spider-Verse, and especially the Edge of Spider-Verse. They did this 5-part, like I guess it was like a primer for Spider-Verse, and it was called The Edge of the Spider-Verse. And holy crap, I literally believed that those comics were better than the actual Spider-Verse crossover event, even though I liked it. Edge of Spider-Verse, all different writers, all different stories. One of them was dedicated to Spider-Man Noir, and it was really, really cool, and I love the part he plays in Spider-Verse itself. This is an awesome character. He wears like black leather. He uses guns, which I guess kind of changes maybe after he meets, 616 Peter Parker and was like, no guns, bro, don't do it. So he doesn't really use the guns anymore, and I believe he still is playing a role in the current ongoing Spider-Verse comic. And I hope he never dies, because come on, man, film noir type stories with a version of Peter Parker. I mean, it really doesn't get any better than that if you like those two things. So Spider-Man Noir gets my number 3 spot. Now let's get to the nitty-gritty. My top 2 favorite alternates. Now let's go to number 2. Number 2 is Speeding Bullets Batman. And if you haven't read this series, please go check it out. I'm going to sell you on it right now. Okay, check this out. Instead of landing in Kansas, the little shuttle that's carrying a little helpless Kal-El from the dying Krypton lands in Gotham City. He is adopted by Thomas and Martha Wayne. Okay, now check this out. We're on a cool path here. As they are walking out of the opera, they get gunned down. Thomas and Martha get gunned down just like they do in our regular universe in Earth 1 with the Batman that you know and love, the origin that they keep putting in every single movie, even though we all know it. And Clark, his powers manifest in that moment of rage and despair, and he literally, using his heat beams, blasts the fuck out of the criminal that just killed his parents, and that's how he discovers his powers. I mean, that's just so dope, right? I mean, come on. It's the things from both these characters and their histories that we recognize, and it's put together in just such a brilliant way. It's so cool. And he goes on to become Batman. A Batman that can legitimately fly, a Batman that legitimately has superpowers. I mean, come on, that is a deadly combination. It's a great, great read, and I highly, highly recommend you check that story out. So Speeding Bullets Batman, even though you could think of it 2 different ways. You could think of it as an alternate version of Batman. You could also technically think of it as an alternate version of Superman. So another reason why it's super, super dope. But Speeding Bullets Batman gets my number 2 spot. So what could it be, folks? What could be my number 1 spot? Well, It's another version of Batman. It's without a doubt my favorite alternate version of a character, and that would be the Flashpoint Batman. Thomas Wayne himself. Now, if you don't know anything about Flashpoint, Flashpoint is an alternate reality created when Barry goes back in time to prevent his mother from dying. This literally, in the butterfly effect sense, has crazy ramifications. The universe changes in ways that you can't anticipate, and it was really, really, really ridiculous. What happens with Batman in the Flashpoint universe is that as they're walking out, right? We just explained this. As Martha and Thomas are walking out of the theater, the gunman comes out. And in this version, he kills the young Bruce Wayne. Kills the kid, man. Kills the kid. Now, this is where it gets really creepy. The mother, so traumatized, snaps. She snaps, man. She becomes the version of the Joker in that universe. And Thomas, in order to avenge his son, becomes Batman, and his costume is so dope. He's got the red eyes. He owns a casino. He uses guns. He uses 2 guns, man. He's a friggin' awesome version of Batman. Does a lot of damage. Ends up helping Barry out. Man, he gives a note to Barry to give to the 616 Bruce, a note from the father to the son. So emotional, so dope. But the way he uses his guns, and he's a badass, man. I love the Flashpoint Batman. I want to see him in live action form someday. We live in a pretty crazy world where we're already getting so many tasty treats when it comes to nerdy things. I maybe 5 years ago would have said there's no way. Well, I don't even actually know if Flashpoint would have came out. Yeah, man, time flies. Yeah, I guess Flashpoint was out before that. But years ago, I would not have said we could get a Flashpoint Batman. I would say that's impossible. No longer do I feel that way. I mean, come on. We get so many tasty goodies these days. Give me that Flashpoint Batman. I needs to see him. We already saw him in the animated version of Flashpoint, which is an awesome movie. I definitely think you should check it out. But that's my number 1 pick, guys. Let me know in the comment section. Do you agree with the picks? Is there something that I missed, like that you really, really thought should be on here? Let me know. Always happy to have a conversation about this stuff. And let me know, like, do you dig Elseworld stories? I find them to be awesome. Like I said, the familiar, but the changes, it's all gravy, baby. It feels great. I love reading these stories. I think they're really, really awesome. All right, now let's check that nerd card. And the question is about an Elseworld version of Superman. I thought about putting this version on the list. It just didn't really kind of fit for what I really, really enjoyed, but it's a very popular version, and it's a very, very good book. My question is about the version of Superman in which he crash lands in Russia and becomes a Russian hero. And the question is, what is the name of that alternate version of Superman? It is also the title of that book. Answer the question in the comment section below, and you're definitely going to want to do that, guys. Remember, I extended the September contest. It is going on all the way until the end of October. We're giving out a ton of stuff from Short Fuse Media Group. They have graciously sponsored this contest. I'm really, really excited about that. And I give out copies of my book, Moros, a Hardboiled Hero. So you're definitely going to want to answer these nerd card questions. So be a subscriber. Do all those good things. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and nerdy day. See ya!